Hi, I'm Sophie and this is Amy, and we're down here today at the Point Nepean National Park visiting for a future fieldwork experience that we're going to plan.
We are going to look at the geography and history of the area, and we are very excited for you guys to come on a tour with us and find out all about Point Nepean.
We are from a school located in Frankston and have chosen to take our students to Point Nepean National Park for their Year 10 history fieldwork. The site is located roughly an hour bus drive from the school. We have chosen this site because it is an area of great historical and geographical significance on the Mornington Peninsula. The expansive opportunities to learn about fundamental Australian historical events range from early immigration, both World Wars, and even the infamous Harold Holt drowning and memorial.
Due to the World War I and II significance, this fieldwork will be undertaken as part of the Year 10 Australian History elective, The Making of the Modern World and Australia. On this slide, you can see the content descriptors that we have chosen as being relevant to this learning area. This site is suitable for an older group of students, not only due to the mature content that they will be exposed to, but also due to the terrain and surroundings of the Point Nepean.
This fieldwork experience should be included in the school's learning program for next year for the following reasons. Firstly, the readily accessible information regarding the history of the area both on and off site. For example, the stables, located at the main car park, provide an undercover area which is great to meter and complete a head count of students. There are also different pamphlets of information available here. Available to download before arriving is an audio tour that the students can then have on file and listen to as discovering the site, and also refer back to. The Fort Nepean site in some areas also has audio that starts playing when movement is sensed in the area. There is no fee to enter the park, only a small bus fare to travel down to the end of the point. The artefacts and land offer rich learning and exploration opportunities for students who can satisfy their own curiosity in a safe and contained yet authentic environment. Furthermore, the environment allows for geographical exploration as a bonus. The cliff tops, open oceans, and various flora and fauna provide constant geographical stimulation for students.
However, one thing that potentially could affect the learning experience would be that they do not offer ranger-provided tours. Therefore, the teaching staff need to have enough of a knowledge of the area in order to be able to conduct an effective fieldwork experience that provides students with the opportunity to gain a greater knowledge of the area and its history. The Parks Victoria website states that a ranger can be made available for the duration of the fieldwork, but after interviewing the staff, we were able to determine that this is not something that they offer to groups due to a shortage of resources and rangers available to complete additional duties.
As previously determined, the fieldwork experience will take place at the Point Nepean National Park. The aims of this fieldwork are to firstly explore how the fortifications were built, adapted and used since the late 1800s. Secondly, investigate a specific historical point and the context behind it, such as the types of diseases quarantined through the hospitals, the weapons designed and used across the world wars, and so on.
The objectives of this fieldwork are to listen to the stories illustrating the lives of men and women who lived and worked at Fort Nepean, collect data to use as a baseline for a research project on a historical event, and observe the environment and gather evidence to substantiate your ideas.
For the learning activities, the 40 students will be split into two roughly even groups. In one of the learning experiences, the group will use the shuttle service to drive to Fort Nepean to explore. They will discover the underground barracks, lookouts, and gun sites, which have historical significance to both world wars. As they go through different sections, audio recordings can be listened to, creating meaningful context to the different sites.
The other learning experience will occur at the quarantine area. Students will go through the hospital and luggage station, investigating primary sources of logbooks and information sheets. The hospital contains information sheets about the design and use of the 5 hospitals. The luggage station is filled with artefacts regarding the immigration ships that came to Australia. Many uniforms, photos, and family histories displayed around the room. There are several photocopied logbooks available in the room with details of each person who arrived in Australia on the ships, who they came with, their occupation, and whether they survived the trip. At the start of the day, students will be provided with 2 worksheets. One provides an overview of what will be expected of students to produce for assessment as a result of the fieldwork. The other will be a worksheet with prompting questions for the students to fill out over the duration of the day and to use to help with the assessment.
Students who may be unable to attend the fieldwork experience would be expected to find a buddy who attended the day and gain a further knowledge from talking and sharing resources with them.
Prior to the fieldwork, a teacher will need to fill out the group activities form that can be found on the Point Nepean National Park website so that the park is informed of student numbers for emergencies. Leaving school via bus at 8:45am and returning by 3:10pm to align for any students who may catch buses to and from school. Students will be expected to pack their own lunch, snacks and drinks for the day.
Having got a quote for the bus service, we were able to work out the cost of the bus for the day being $680, equaling roughly $17 per passenger. We've based the student numbers on this year's enrolments in the elective class. The shuttle bus from the stables to Fort Nepean is $8 per person for groups of 15 or more. Therefore, we would be looking at a cost of around $360 for the shuttle service.
We would arrive at the site at 9:45 and students would have time for morning tea. They would also be provided with an overview of the day and divided into their groups. Following this, between 10:30 and 2 o'clock, the 2 groups would, in blocks of an hour and 15 minutes, complete the activities and then rotate with a lunch break in the middle.
For both activities, the teacher in charge would provide a historical overview of the area to students as a group. Students would then use self-guided brochures as a basis for their own further exploration. The teacher should remain vigilant of areas and surrounds at all times, being based close to the shore.
The fieldwork would be implemented to support a larger unit of work about Australian history. Before completing the fieldwork experience, students would be introduced to the area and do their own research on the site. They could use the National Parks Victoria website and YouTube channel to find out information about the history of the site.
Prior to attending, students should also download the audio tour, which they can listen to on the day and refer back to when completing their assessment. By attending the fieldwork, students would also have the opportunity to collect further resources from the site.
The fieldwork will be completed in 2 larger groups made up of smaller groups for assessment purposes. Each student in the group will be assigned a role for the assessment, collecting a specific form of data that will help scaffold the whole group's learning for the assessment.
In the case that there is a student with a physical disability, we have considered the accessibility of the site. Appropriate facilities are readily available, such as wheelchair accessibility on the shuttle bus, and both sites have well-maintained paths that ensure access to different areas. At both activity sites, the different buildings and areas are wheelchair accessible. Fort Nepean is quite hilly, and therefore a student with a physical disability may choose to spend the majority of their time at the areas marked 1 to 5 on the self-guided brochure. As this is a group assignment, roles can be delegated to accommodate for any needs of group members.
Carers would be welcomed for any students that may need one-on-one assistance over the duration of the day. The student-to-teacher ratio outlined by the department is 1 to 20, so additional parents are welcome.
The bus is licensed to carry up to 57 passengers, and the staff and students total 42, so there is ample space for parents. It must be noted that parents need to hold a valid working with children's check in order to attend, and parents trained in first aid are a great addition to the trip, and essential if neither teacher has their certificate.
High and Gold explained fieldwork assessment to take the form of a report that should be well structured and effectively written, illustrated and presented.
Our intended assessment will therefore see students work in groups of 2 to 3 to collect evidence of historical significance to a specific topic, such as a quarantine disease or weapons used in different areas across both wars, strategic planning of the environment, such as position of towers, weapons and lookouts. Students would then be expected to use this evidence to create a report-based presentation explaining that part of Australian history, drawing conclusions based on multiple pieces of evidence.